Here's the next update on the K10. Starting at the front, the rear diff I just ended up painting it black with the gold bolts. Good enough. The shocks on the front, because I moved my axle forward, they didn't line up for anything anymore. So they're mounted stock on the top, and then it has washers spacing it out away from the frame. And then on the bottom, mounted on the outside, there's a steel sleeve in there to keep it from crushing when you torque the bolt down. And then it just has washers to space it out from there. Same thing on the other side. So front shock issue is solved. And I finally got the rear axles in there. Ended up having someone come out here and weld the mounts for me. But same thing, black rear cover. I added a higher fill hole on there. I just got to paint the plug black to match, but black cover, gold bolts. He did a really good job on the spring mounts and the shock mounts. I'm happy with how the welds came out. Better than me trying to do it. So at least it's in there. The fuel tank is in. I got the wires ran for it. I just got to finish soldering them together, but I got ascending, and then I got the power. I'll have it so when you turn the key forward, it comes on just like a regular electric fuel pump. But the fuel pump ascending units for a 90 GMC Suburban or Chevy Suburban, they're both the same. It should only be like 15 psi, and then I'll get a probably Aeromotive regulator or a Holly to drop it down to 6, 7 for a carburetor. But it's getting there. But I think the shocks, I think they came out pretty good. It's got a decent amount of clearance between the spring and the shock. It's not like it's ever going to hit the spring. But that's what the mounts look like. At least it gets the shocks out of the way. Nothing real complicated. And then I got the fuel lines already hooked into the sending unit. I got the brake line is in. The angle iron that I had back there for supporting the fuel tank, I swapped that out for 2.5-inch square tubing. It's 1/4 inch thick, just for the weight of the fuel, 40 gallons of fuel. I didn't think that the angle iron was going to be able to hold it, so that got swapped out. And then on the top of the shock, it's just 2.5-inch square tubing, just the excess that I had from the cross member for the fuel tank. And I'm just cutting the bottom out. And then it has washers that space it out, so the boot doesn't rub against the frame, and then I could torque it all down. So it was simple. I mean, it's not overly complicated. It's not real spectacular, but looks good enough. But there's my rear transfer case mount. Got that all in there. It's kind of hard to see because it's black, but you can see what it looks like. And then there's a speedometer cable. Speedometer cable comes out, wraps around, goes along the bottom, and then runs up to the front of the cab. I was gonna get some straps to hold it in place, but I mean, it works. Then I just added these plates for the bottom of the mounts, for the rubber mounts, just so it won't rotate. But those are in there. Doing a transfer case is not easy. I would rather pull the motor and tranny than have to do this again. So whenever it breaks, I'll probably end up doing it that way. But the side mounts, nothing spectacular. I just did a square. I got tired of cutting 3/8 steel plate, so I just left it like that. Looks good. Painted black. Then that's the clearance, which is why I ended up making a new mount for it. So as that rotates around, there's just not enough room for it to make a revolution, let alone if it wobbles anywhere or does anything. So, well, and when you want a big lift kit, you gotta make a couple of things. Then I just painted the side plates. I did the gaskets on it. Black gold bolts. And then that's what it looks like, the clocking ring. It's 6 bolts. I believe it's the same as an automatic to a 205. It's just 6 bolts that hold them together. So I figured that was good enough. You can't run that bolt because it just doesn't line up. So it's 5 on the top and then 1 on the bottom of it. But I don't think it'd be an issue. What's the worst that could happen? It breaks. I come up with something different. I doubt it'll break. I mean, everything's pretty strong. Just the way it's put together, it's not like all the stress is on the bolts themselves. And that's a sleeve that sticks out from my Northwest Fab adapter into the factory center adapter. So I doubt anything to break. Be more for rotational. But I made a little bit of progress. Now I can put the exhaust on. Kind of finish everything. I think one day it might actually run. At least that cross member is out of the way. And you can see the cross member in the back, but it's easier to get to the front drive shaft. That's it. That's as far as I got. I'm getting there though.